Let's go to the other good match on the show, but not a good build. That's the X Division.
I mean, like, define build.
There is a lot of matches that build to this. It's probably the most built to match in TNA history.
But it's not a build either. Like, it's just matches with no connective tissue.
They're trying to impress Dusty Rhodes, Liam.
That's the laziest shit I've ever heard.
It's made all the more lazy by it's the exact same thing they did building to the Ultimate X in January.
Yeah.
Where they did the exact same. Dusty Rhodes is watching these X Division matches looking to be impressed to see who he'll put in Ultimate X. And they did the exact same thing here where there's a bunch of X Division matches this month to determine who will enter the Ultimate X Challenge, which is a new form of Ultimate X. It starts as a tag team match. When somebody is eliminated, it becomes a triple threat match. When another person is eliminated, it then becomes a one-on-one Ultimate X match where the person who pulls down the belt wins or retains the X Division title. How'd you feel about that little wrinkle to the stipulation?
That's too much.
Too many rules?
I'm not someone who's like anti-rules in my wrestling, but this is just, I don't know, just do the Ultimate X. Does it really matter?
It was apparently Daniel's idea, which he pitched to Dusty, and Dusty liked it.
Oh, it's just unnecessary more than anything, I think.
So let's talk about like 100 different X Division matches. Ron Killings defeated Michael Shane on the February 18th episode of Impact.
I'm not going to do this.
Tell me all about this Ron Killings versus Michael Shane
Alright, Ron
match.
Killings had purple pants.
This was the last Michael Shane match in TNA history.
Was it?
Yeah. He never wrestles in TNA as Michael Shane ever again.
Ah, what about the Chris Sabin match?
He was just Michael.
Was he just Michael?
Did you not notice that?
No, I didn't notice that he was just Michael.
He was just Michael. It said Michael versus Chris Sabin, and every time they refer to him, they simply refer to him as Michael.
Why? Did they get sued again?
So, you remember the Gemini?
Yeah.
One of whom is Mike Shane? Apparently,
okay.
It turns out he apparently had the trademark of that all along. And if you remember, he was the NWA Tag Champion when TNA were formed, the Shane brothers. And TNA not only stripped them of the belts, but put them in a penis costume.
Yep.
Because they became the Johnsons.
Yep.
So apparently, surely out of spite, he enforced the trademark and said, you can't use Michael Shane anymore.
How do you, like, what a stupid name to trademark.
Mike Shane.
Like the most fucking generic bullshit. My name's Bob Johnson and I'm gonna fucking trademark it.
Mike Shane. Well, you're the Shane brothers with the other Shane, whose name I don't remember. The Gemini.
Okay.
The Johnsons.
How silly. It's alright, Matt Bentley's a better name anyway.
That is why Michael Shane dropped the name Michael Shane. This was his last Michael Shane match. Kazarian pulled Killings off the apron, punched him. Frankie interfered again, but then Truth pushed Shane into him, hit the axe kick. Killings picks up the win. Ron Killings is moving to the X Division. He was apparently strongly against the move, but will be part of the Ultimate X match.
Not for long.
This is his only time in the X Division. He's only here for a month.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think he should be happy, but I guess he probably wants to do, like, heavyweight real wrestling stuff.
I feel like he would be the opposite of AJ, wouldn't he? Where AJ's like, oh, thank fucking God I can have a match with Chris Sabin. Whereas Ron Killings is like, why am I wrestling these lower card nerds?
Yeah. More about position than match quality.
Franchise has Daniels on that show. Daniels talks about how he had it won at the end of the 30-minute Iron Man match, but Franchise did remind Daniels that Daniels was the one who asked for the overtime period.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a pretty good little backstage segment between the two.
It's a good use of, like, because WWE, their interviewers never have a response. They're literally, my guest at this time is blah, and the person does their promo. Whereas I kind of like that there is a line where you don't want the interviewer to overly undercut the heel. But if the heel's spouting a bunch of bullshit, I kind of like the interviewer being like, wait a minute, no, you asked for the overtime period.
I think Renee's the best at that. She can challenge them enough where it actually becomes an interesting segment.
Yeah. But
she doesn't, like, overstate it and become part of the whole thing. Unless she's specifically meant to be, like, in the Hangman stuff.
Daniels then complains that he has to earn a spot at Destination X rather than be put into that Ultimate X match automatically.
God, Chris Sabin was all over this month and did, like, nothing.
He had a bunch of 3-minute television matches.
Also, he was like the most winningest of the month. He should have just been in the Ultimate X.
So later in that show, it was Chris Candido versus Shark Boy versus Chris Sabin in a 3-way. Tell me all about this match, Liam.
No.
Styles is on commentary. He was not very good.
Well, he's not very good at speaking.
He's really not. He just doesn't seem to have like a sharp brain.
Or a shark brain.
That's true. There's someone in this match that does have a shark brain. But like, it just like the thoughts don't come to him fast enough. So he tries to like make points and then stops and stutters and doesn't really know what he's saying.
I don't think like it's just kind of that's just kind of who he is as a person.
Yeah, I don't really mean it as a slight. It's just how his brain works. And then he's out there trying to do like what Daniels does much better, which is like come up with organic points and play off TNA and West.
He gets flustered very quickly.
Yeah, and then he just kind of gets lost.
And then he says a slur.
He's only done that once so far.
No, he's done that 3 times.
This company, he's done it once.
Okay.
Do
you remember when you did it as IWGP champion?
Like 20.
While wearing the belt?
AJ. Sweet AJ.
Don't call him sweet. He might get aggressive with you.
The gay community.
The gay community.
That is
Imagine that being like part of your legacy.
The gay community is part of my legacy, Liam. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh.
There was a spot where Candido just was like tossed over the ropes. You know, he charged at Sabin and Sabin did the thing where he just tosses him over. And he took the most wild pump. Flung himself over at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I did love the finish of this match. Where Sabin had Shark Boy in a reverse figure 4 so that he wasn't facing Shark Boy while he had him in a submission. And then Candido snuck in and pinned Shark Boy and got the win.
I bet there was some Candido pitching too.
Absolutely. Like that's one of those clever little ideas that positively came from Chris Candido.
Candido's been fun. I've enjoyed his run here, and now he's linking up with the Naturals, which is, for some reason, always been an association that I've had in my mind.
Yeah, I guess there's nowhere else to talk about it. Earlier on the show, the Naturals do face Buck Quartermain and Lex Lovett. There's not much Naturals.
My guys!
Buck and Lex lose.
Boo!
Because this is where the Naturals come out, accompanied by Chris Candido. They also did on the pre-show of the last pay-per-view. And Candido's turning around their recent run of results. And they do here, where they beat them with a natural disaster. After Buck and Lex hit stereo Falcon arrows.
Yeah, they're my guys. What can I say? I gotta admit, I really do like the Naturals finish.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one's ever stolen it.
It's pretty solid.
Like, the Naturals haven't been on a major stage in, 15 years. So their finish is right there for the taking. But yeah, they hit the natural disaster on Lovett for the win and also hit it on Quartermain after the match.
Yeah, I like them picking him up and doing it again.
The edgy Naturals.
Yeah, sure. They should get Young Bucks, like, emo gear when they turned heel or whatever. Send them to Hot Topic.
February 25, Chris Sabin defeated Cassidy Riley, won with the Cradle Shock.
Again, the most winningest guy.
Kid Cash also defeated Buck Quartermain. Elix Skipper defeated Chris Candido. All of these were wrestling matches that did happen.
That's the problem. Like, they're all just little 2-star affairs. Was Sabin on every episode? He was.
He's a busy boy.
Doing nothing. What a crazy mix.
The highlight of the Sabin Cassidy Riley match was Sabin went for a standing Hurricane Rana, and Riley decided to plant himself in his head.
The highlight of this match for me was it felt like Chris Sabin was facing alternate reality Chris Sabin.
That's true. Cassidy Riley does have like Chris Sabin but 2 years ago vibes.
He has Chris Sabin but from California vibes.
So Skipper defeated the Candido. The Naturals interfered, grabbing Skipper's leg, knocking him off the top at prime time. Hit his rope walk, ran out, followed by the sudden death for the win.
Like, why couldn't they have just done like a mini tournament, you know?
Instead of just aimless matches that Dusty is supposedly watching.
Or like qualifiers or something, you know?
You don't even have like the moment where Dusty's like, oh, I was really impressed by this wrestler for this
like a
reason.
backstage segment where he has like a whiteboard next to his truck and he's like crossing names off.
He's like, ooh, it was impressive, but he got pinned here. Like, Candido won the first match, but he lost the second. How does that weigh in?
Well, like, Sabin's won every singles match so far, but he did lose the 3-way and the tag.
But he didn't get pinned in the 3-way.
You could have made this interesting.
Yeah, but instead they just randomly announce at the end of the month that 2 guys are in the match and then have a match for the last spot. I did appreciate the main event of this show. I thought it was a nice little TV match, which is better than everything else in the show. It was Daniels and Shazarian against Sonny Siaki, Ron Killings, and AJ Styles. Frankie's last match in TNA for now.
Forever. I felt like I heard the Naturals and Shazarian's theme music 1,000 times this month.
Well, you would have heard Michael Shane's a few times, yeah.
Because like every time I looked down, I think I was like started hearing dur 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 dur.
I tell a lie, by the way. He was still Michael Shane here. It's the next match. So this is the last Michael Shane match. Damn it. So the other match doesn't even have the interesting point to be the last Michael Shane match.
There is nothing.
So this is the last Michael Shane match in TNA history. So heat on killing. Siaki hit the rope, allowing Kaz to grab his leg. Shane followed with a super kick. Shane picks up the win here.
Dur 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 dur.
Killings did one of my favorite things where he got Enziguri and he did a flip bump. I do appreciate that.
He's putting the effort in despite not wanting to be in it. I actually thought this match kind of slapped.
Yeah, because I was about to make the note that a lot of the time with Impact matches is like they'll do the entrances, they'll do the first minute of the match, they'll go to a break, they'll come back 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah.
And then the match will be 2 more minutes after that. Whereas for this one, like they did the entrances and before the opening bell, they then went to a break and came back and aired the full 8-minute match uninterrupted. And it's just that little touch of airing a full match uninterrupted. It wasn't like blow the doors off, but it was 6 good wrestlers, of varying degrees, but 6 good wrestlers having a good wrestling match, a good TV main event.
And we've always said this is the kind of position where Siaki would shine.
Yeah, where he throws some people around.
When he's just the 6th man in a multi-man.
Also, AJ does the flying forearm here, but he does it as a double cross chop. Good job. New move. But yeah, Shane got the win.
Yeah. Actually, I thought this was kind of good.
Yeah, 3-star main event, which is better than nearly all but one of the matches this month on TV.
And the 3rd best match in total.
Yeah. March 4th Impact opens with Chris Sabin against Michael. He's just called Michael.
Michael, no Shane.
Sabin wins with the Cradle Shock. I also thought they worked hard here. I thought they had a better match than a lot of the other quote-unquote qualifiers, I guess.
Sabin still does the Cradle Shock really good.
Yeah, and by better I mean 2 3/4 stars. Chris Candido and the Naturals faced P.D. Williams, Elix Skipper, and Mikey Batts. The big point on commentary was how Skipper didn't like having to team with P.D., even though he beat P.D. on the pay-per-view. Batts had the pin after an Enziguri, but Candido dropped a headbutt and then dropped Stevens on top of Batts for the win. So Candido and the Naturals continue to pick up some momentum. P.D. taking a big backseat this month. A lot of people, like AMW, disappear. We'll talk about that in a sec, but they just disappear altogether. They're barely on this month.
Well, even Team Canada are around, but they're not really doing a lot until they're shoehorned into a pay-per-view match.
That whole pay-per-view build feels very added on at the last minute. Johnny Devine does get hurt this month. So there is, that match is up in the air, but I think it's always going to be some combination of that, whether it's a 6-man tag or it turns out A1 is added to Team Canada for the match to make it an 8-man tag. So, they do know they're doing Team Canada versus the 3LK and AMW in some form, but they never build to it. So, well, they do, but very little.
But they don't.
A touch I did like was that the main event of this episode is AJ Styles defending the X Division title against Kid Cash.
We might as well put the tag stuff into this too, because that is one angle at the end.
Yeah, but we'll give it the 30 seconds by itself after we do the X Division.
That it deserves.
Of course. I did like the little touch that it wasn't a foregone conclusion that Styles would be in the X Division title match at the pay-per-view.
That's stupid.
I thought it was a neat little wrinkle. This, the champion feels like he has a right to be there, but he has to earn his way in. Also, he wrestled Kid Cash in a damn good TV main event.
You know what? You've sold me. That is a good idea.
Thank you. Mostly because it was a good wrestling match on television.
Which is appreciative.
Because this went a little longer than 15 minutes, I think of which we saw about 10. It went through 2 commercial breaks, which I think is the first match in the history of the television show to go through 2 commercial breaks.
Possibly.
Yeah, 30-minute time limit because it is a title match. Daniels is on commentary as well, and he reinforces that he had AJ beat at the end of the match.
Which is true.
And Mike Tenay is like, how is it favoritism? He's making Styles defend the title too. He's making Styles earn his way into this match. And Daniels is like, this is Dusty trying to deflect the criticisms of being a golden boy. I see right through him.
It is a good, way around it.
As I said, it's almost weird to get a real match on Impact, 2 guys having a real TV main event.
Well, it definitely stands out.
Where it's brain busters and tornado DDTs and springboard hurricane ranas and dives to the floor and interference from Dallas and all the stuff you'd expect from a Kid Cash and AJ match. It might be actually AJ and Kid Cash's best match, or at least as good as their other matches.
It's about the same.
I don't think it was deliberate, but AJ went for his springboard reverse DDT, and Cash dropped his head and accidentally headbutted AJ in the balls.
I think it was deliberate.
I think it was a sensational low blow, because they didn't actually follow it up with it. AJ did sell it.
No, I don't think it was a structured part of the match. I do think it was deliberate.
Oh, you're suggesting Kid Cash has perhaps gone into business for himself.
He's like, I'm gonna hit him in the dick.
But I thought it was a cool low blow. I thought, listen, whether or not they did it on purpose or did it on purpose, it's a cool low blow. It's a cool way to incorporate a low blow that has plausible deniability on multiple fronts. So Dallas tried to interfere. Styles hit him with a forearm. Daniels tripped Styles, allowing Cash to go for the moneymaker, but Styles reversed into a jackknife cover for the win. Yeah, good TV main event. Good stuff. Do more of this. Why don't you do more of this? That's always the thing. I say this all the time, but my idea of lazy booking is like, what if we give AJ Styles Kid Cash 15 minutes in the main event?
Yeah, but like that's good lazy booking.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's like, instead of filling it with 15 like half-assed segments, why don't we just give 2 good wrestlers time in the main event?
On every show.
Do it all the time.
People like good wrestling.
The Shocker. No, he's someone else.
We'll get to him.
March 11th Impact, we're told that Edith Skipper and Ron Killings are the 2 people who have been automatically qualified into the Ultimate X match. I don't, like, Killings won a singles match and lost a tag. Skipper won a match somewhere. Did we skip it? Or no, he beat Candido. We did talk about that briefly.
Yeah, he beat Candido.
So he won 1 singles match, and Sabin, who didn't lose a match and won 2 singles matches, has to qualify.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So Daniels faces Sabin to qualify for Ultimate X, which, if you remember, was also the match to determine the qualifier for Ultimate X back in January.
It's like, it also was kind of disappointing. Like, give them the 15 as well.
They had a really good, close to 15-minute match in January too.
Yeah.
And here they had about 4, and it was fine. It was as good as a 4-minute Daniels and Chris Sabin match is going to be. Daniels missed the BME. Sabin got a near fall out of the same pin that he beat Daniels with back in January, which is a small touch I did appreciate, that these guys are at least putting in that little callback. But then Daniels hit the Angel's Wings for the win after using the referee to escape from a cradle shock. All of which
led to some bullshit.
Built to the Ultimate X Challenge at Destination X, in which Christopher Daniels defeated AJ Styles, Edith Skipper, and Ron Killings to become the new X Division champion.
I love the way that Daniels won this.
Yeah, so we'll get through the match first. I appreciate it that, like, they pointed out on commentary that the match started, obviously, as a tag team match, and the tag teams were determined to be Daniels and Killings against Skipper and Styles. And they pointed out that Daniels and Skipper would not be allowed on the same team because obviously Triple X broke up.
Yeah.
They're illegally a not allowed team. I guess it could have been Styles and Daniels against Skipper and Killings, but
that would have been too stacked.
Styles and Daniels, unfair advantage. That's where they would have learned to team. So Triple X kind of slyly worked as a team. Skipper eliminated Killings with a sudden death after Daniels saved Skipper from elimination. I did like when it got down to the 3-way, they were like, well, wait a minute. We can do dumb spots off the cables that wouldn't make sense in a regular Ultimate X match. But because this phase of the match is a 3-way match where it's pinfall or submission until they get down to the final 2, we can just do some wacky shit.
Yeah, we can go all out here.
So Daniel climbs the cables, hits a moonsault off the cables, a wild spot, which I also appreciate Don West to help to explain, where he was like, they were standing below him looking up because they were like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't win the match. And then he moonsaulted on them.
Yeah.
Once again, a good commentator.
They had some good ideas in this.
Styles, on the topic of good ideas, the execution didn't quite come off. Styles tried to hit a shooting star off the cables.
Which is so dangerous.
It is.
Like, there's no, like, stable thing to stand on.
Yeah.
Or be attached to in any way.
And there's no way to get, like, the forward momentum off the cables to, like, shooting star forward, which he learned the hard way by trying to do it. So he tried to shooting star and he kind of floated over on the cables, and then he just kind of did a shooting star, and it looked fine, but it's like too creative for your own good there, buddy.
Yeah.
Daniels foolishly betrayed Skipper, and then after Skipper hit the sudden death, Daniels rolled him up to eliminate him. So it came down to Styles and Daniels for the X Division title, Ultimate X rules. Daniels hit an STO off the cables. They keep climbing and falling and climbing and falling, and you can take the finish from here, though.
Well, the finish here is that AJ wins.
Mm-hmm.
AJ gets the belt down, but the ref is down, and because Daniels is a big son of a bitch, he just lays AJ out, grabs the belt, and pretends that he was the one who took it down. And then when the ref gets up, he's like, oh, Daniels must have gotten it down. Makes sense. My favorite thing is he looks at him holding the belt, then looks back up to make sure that was the real belt. Because what if he just brought a replica in and was like, I got it down. And he calls it for Daniels. I think this is kind of a perfect way for Daniels to win the title. because it's like a sleazeball, backhanded way of doing it without him just actually straight up winning. This was done in a creative way, so I like it. And it was believable. It wasn't some like overly complicated thing like we saw in the first blood match.
Yeah, it's like there was a ref bump. Styles just went up and got the belt. Daniels just hit him with an Angel's Wings, picked up the belt, and was declared winner. It's like, how could you do this finish in the least number of steps? Is the exact way they did it. And thumbs up.
They've done a couple really good Ultimate X finishes with the like Petey grabbing the belt in the middle too.
And it's probably a problem with the structure of the show, in that this match came straight after the Outlaw against Nash, and it's the exact same finish where a dude wins supposedly and then is screwed out of it. But that's Dusty for you. He has two ideas. But yeah, I like the idea that like Daniels can't beat Styles. He just can't. Styles is just better than him, so he has to find cheap ways to do it.
But he did beat him in a certain way.
Yeah.
He outsmarted him.
He has the brains.
He points to his head.
No, that's Jeff Jarrett.
Point.